Hi, folks. Hope you are okay. God bless you. Love to everybody out there. This is Jason in Ghana, missionary with my wife Dorcas. So God bless you all. Love to everybody out there. I'm going to pray and ask the Lord's blessing. Sorry, I got a bit of an itch. Father, we thank you for your grace and your love, Lord, and we give you the praise, we give you the glory, and we just pray that you might bless this video. May it be a help and encouragement to people in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. I wanted to do this video. I think it'll be very, very helpful for those involved in apologetics, those on the street level of ordinary people, like you're on the street, you're witnessing to Muslims. What I'm going to share with you, I think, is going to be a great help to you, and also those who are doing apologetics. Now, I don't lay any claim to these ideas. I was listening to a video by Orthodox Shahada and Jay Dyer, and they were talking about Muslim apologetics. So when I was listening to them, now these guys are Eastern Orthodox theologians and apologists. I don't agree with their theology. I think they're up the creek, heretical, like they believe in justification by works. We believe in justification by faith, that they believe in tradition plus the Bible. So they're all over the place theologically. But they're quite good minds and they're quite intellectual. And they've done some research and study on Islamic apologetics, and they have servers like Concord, and they've practiced these apologetic methods on the Muslims, and they're being quite effective. And one of the things that came out in their discussion, which I thought was interesting, and I did some research on it when I heard them, is they said one of the things that they do with the Muslims when they come on the Concord servers and things like that, they'll ask when the Muslim starts attacking the Bible, starts attacking the Trinity, they ask them, what's your creed? Because there's not only the Shahada, there are these creeds that Muslims have, and there are different schools that have different creeds. Like the Shia have a creed, and the Sunnis have a creed, and then within Sunni theology, there are different creeds even within that. So what these guys, these Eastern Orthodox guys do, they ask the Muslims, what's your creed? You're attacking the Trinity, you're attacking the deity of Christ, you're attacking the Bible. What's your creed? And 9 times out of 10, the Muslim doesn't know what their creed is. So then they say, well, you're attacking the Bible, but you don't know your creed. Come back another day. So it's a good way of silencing criticism of the Bible, criticism of the Trinity. You come into us, you don't even know your own theology. You don't even know where you stand. All right. So it's a really good method. And then the second thing is it opens up a can of worms for the Muslims, right? Because you see, in Islam, they have this simple script. We believe in one God, Muhammad is a prophet, etc. Very simple script, right? Now, if you listen to the Jehovah's Witness or the Mormons, they have a simple script. So the Mormons come to you and say they believe in Jesus. But then if you follow the Mormons, you find this simple script opens up to a can of worms where one minute you think, oh, this is simple. And then behind the scenes, you've got this temple worship. You've got the baptism of the dead. So also you've got the Book of Mormon. You've got all these weird things going on. But they made it simple at first for you. The Jehovah's Witness do the same. We believe in Jehovah. Very simple. But then they don't tell you that if you join the Jehovah's Witnesses, you can't have blood transfusion, you are controlled by the watchtower. And so the Muslims, they operate on the same way as a cult. They bring this, they present to you, we believe in one God, Muhammad is a prophet, very simple. But actually, when you get a look at their creed, there's a lot of stuff in there that you can nail them on. Proper style, you can nail them on. And they're hiding from people. And not only that, a lot of the Muslim apologists don't even know what the creed is. And they won't want to tell you what their creed is because they know as soon as they tell you what their creed is, boom, you've got them. You can take them down on various points of their creed. So they try to hide the creed. So it's a very, very effective way of getting in and challenging the Muslims. So just bear that in mind, okay? The other thing as well, which is interesting, is these Muslim apologists, a lot of them are Salafi. They come from the Sunni school of Salafi. Now, these Salafis, they are not representative of the majority of Muslims. I think it's the Ashʿarī side, but there's a side to the Sunnis that's the majority, and they believe you shouldn't be involved in polemics. You shouldn't be involved in rationalization of theology. And they're the majority of Sunni. So the Salafi do not represent the majority of Sunni Muslims. That's an interesting thing. So when you see these Muslim apologists at Speaker's Corner, they're not representing Sunni Islam. They're not representing the majority of Islamic teaching. Yeah? They're actually going against a lot of what Muslim apologists, Muslim theologians actually say. And these apologists at Speaker's Corner, they're all hiding their creed. Because if they tell you their creed, you've got a lot of ammunition to get them on. So they hide their creed. Just a caveat, we're not doing this other thing as well, but the other one is when they quote hadiths, okay? When the Muslims quote hadiths and you quote hadiths, they'll say to you, oh, you can't quote that one, it's a weak hadith. But there are schools within Islam of jurisprudence where they have these law schools where they give laws for, like, you've got the Shia in Iran, you've got the Sunnis in other Arabic countries, and their theologian, they are different law schools, and they will say this is the law for marriage, this is the law for this, and then they will give the hadiths. Now there are different schools of thought, but when you quote a hadith, if you quote it in one of the schools, from one of the schools, they can't say it's a weak hadith. They might say, oh, that's not a school that we belong to, but you can say, but if you were in that country, you would have to obey that law from that hadith. So you can't say it's not for me. So that's a good way of pinning them down on these hadiths, because often they'll say, oh, it's a weak hadith, to get around the attack or criticism that you're making. Okay. And just another thing as well, these Salafi people like Muhammad Hijab and people like that, what they don't tell you, they put on this nice front where they're doing these apologetics in the West, and they're friendly and they're nice. But there are groups in Islam that are not seen as orthodox in Islam. There are groups in Islam that are not seen as orthodox Muslims in Islam. And if a Salafi, one of these Muslim apologists, says this apologist or this person is not Orthodox Muslim, if that person's living in Pakistan or some country like that, they can end up getting killed. So on one hand, you got these Muslim apologists, these Salafi, who don't represent the majority of Sunni Muslims, by the way, the Ashʿarī. They can pronounce on someone in Pakistan or some other Muslim country, that person is not Orthodox. And that person they point can get killed. And yet at the same time in the West, they're talking as if everything's okay. We're friendly to you. So these are things going on at Speaker's Corner with these people. They're double-tongued. They're not as friendly. They're not as nice as you think they are. There's a lot going on. You know, they're pronouncing on people in foreign countries. I've heard Muhammad Hijab do the same. And that puts the people that they're pronouncing on, their lives in danger. And it's very, very serious. Very, very serious. So now our main topic is the Islamic creed. Right? There are creeds, okay? There are Sunni creeds and there are Shia creeds, okay? And I want to, you can get this, I put some links under the video, some key books you can read for free. You can download them at Google Archive. 2 excellent books. I've downloaded them just now. It's free. And I'm going to be reading them over the next week or two. I'm going to be devouring the books. Please get hold of these books. They're for free. Devour them, especially if you're going to Speaker's Corner. Devour these books. They're going to really, really help you. Honestly. Devour the books. They're going to really help you. And I've put a few links to a few articles on Wikipedia and things like that. But then there's these 2 very scholarly works that you can read. Okay? They're going to help you. So we're going to go through the creed and just see some of the weaknesses that you can get If you're going to Speaker's Corner, you're going to debate Muslims, you can get them on some of these things. So let's look at their creed. Yeah. So just before we do, here's one book that I put a link under. Yeah. It's about Islamic creeds. So there we are. Yeah. Muslim Creed, yeah. Cambridge University Press. Muslim Creed by A.G. Wensinck, yeah. It's an old book, but it's an excellent work. Faith and Works and Will, the Pillars of Islam, God and the World. And it goes through the various creeds of Islam, the different schools. Very, very informative. Yeah. So that's one. And then the other. Please read the book. It's going to be a help to you in your apologetics. And then this one, the Development of Muslim Theology and Jurisprudence. This is another book you can get for free. It's under my video live link underneath. You can get this book for free. Google Archive. It's all free. Yeah, and very, very scholarly. All right, there might be old books, but they're very, very scholarly, helpful books. Muslim Theology, Jurisprudence and Constitutional Theory by Duncan B. Macdonald. Get hold of this book and read it. It's going to help you a lot in dealing with Muslims in Hyde Park Speaker's Corner. It's going to give you a lot of ammunition. Yeah, it's going to give you a heck of a lot of ammunition, honestly. It'll give you some wisdom when you're quoting hadiths to know how to deal with them, yeah? So if anybody wants to come on, you can come on. If anybody wants to come on and just see what, if you want to come on live, the live stream, it's there. So if anybody wants to come on the live stream, the live stream is there. Yeah. So we're going to go through the creed. One of the creeds, anyway. See, this is it. Yeah, there we are. Okay, so there we are. We've got the creed there. All right. Now this is from it's called the Encyclopedia. I just scanned it and put it on a PDF. But you can just I put a link under the video where you can get this article if you want to get the article. But I want to just show you how the Muslim apologists are hiding these things and how you can get them on the creed. So you can ask the Muslim apologist, what's your creed? You're attacking the Quran. You're attacking the Bible. You're attacking the deity of Christ. What is your creed? If the Muslim says, I don't know, you've got him, you've made him look a fool. If the Muslim says, oh, it doesn't matter, you've made them look bad because now they don't want to talk about their theology. So you can say, look, I've asked you what your creed is. You're criticizing the deity of Christ. What's your creed? Oh, I don't know. Well, you don't even know your own theology and you're attacking the deity of Christ. So that's one step. And then the next step, if they say, oh, we don't need to, we're looking at the deity of Christ, we say, oh, yeah, we do need to. We need to know what your creed is. You know what our creed is. What's your creed? And if they refuse to do that, it shows their dishonesty. So that's the second step. The third step, if they say, this is our creed, then when they state their creed, there's things in their creed that you can use to take them down. on any topic. Like if they start critiquing the deity of Christ, there's things in the creed that you can use against them. Okay? So it says here, the Aqidah is an Islamic creed or creedal statement. The plural Aqidah or articles of belief is used in a similar sense. Since there is no Islamic body corresponding to the Christian ecumenical councils, Islamic creeds do have the official status of the Christian creeds and thus are not, they do not have the official status of the Christian creeds and thus are not used liturgically. What might be regarded as an exception to these is the Shahada or the confession of faith. There is no deity except God and the Messenger, yeah? Muslims, which is universally accepted by Muslims, have repeated in the formal worship of prayer, salat. The Shahada is not generally regarded as the Aqidah, however, though it might be considered the basis of all later creeds. The term Aqidah and Aqid are applied to works of greatly varying length, ranging from with fewer than a dozen lines to voluminous theological treatises. But there are these creeds, not just the Shahada, but there are these creeds, and each Muslim will belong to one school of thought. And if they don't know what school they belong to, shame on them. They can't be attacking the Bible. They can't be criticizing the Bible. They need to know where they stand theologically. And if they know where they stand theologically, once you know the theology of the creed, you've got them, because there's so many weaknesses in the creeds that you can pull out and use against them. Okay? So we're going to continue. I'm just going to take these books off now. So you've got a link to the books, and we're going to go into detail now. I'm looking forward to reading those books. And so this is going to help you a lot at Speaker's Corner and doing Islamic apologetics against Muslims, yeah? So let's just go through the creed, and then we can point to some of the weaknesses. The development of Islamic creeds, although they hold no ecumenical councils, the Sunnis, who are the great majority of all Muslims, have come to a large measure of agreement about the articles of belief through informal consensus. Each legal theological school, and notably the Ḥanafī and the Hanbali schools, have developed creeds which the school has accepted and often attributed to its founder, even when the composition might date from several centuries later. The various subdivisions of Shia Islam have also produced their creedal statements, as have some of their minor sects. The process by which the Sunni creed was created is similar to that in Christianity, namely through arguments against the views of some believers which were felt to be heretical by the main body of believers. Among the views excluded by the Sunnis were the Shia belief that the Prophet Muhammad has designated Ali to succeed him, and that each following the Shia Imams have been familiarly designated by the predecessor. The Karalali belief that a person who commits a grave sin is thereby excluded from the community, and the Mu'tazili belief that human acts are independent of God's control. I want to just say something here, which is very, very important and will help you in apologetics with Muslims. The Muslim apologist, they don't know the history theologically or apologetically. And very often when I've talked to Muslim apologists, I've said something about their theology and they don't even know their own history. So I would encourage you, when you hear these different schools, to go and read up on the schools, because it will give you a greater insight into the theological debates that Muslims had, and you'll be able to inform the Muslim apologists that actually you're, like for example on predestination, I was on Hamza's Den a few weeks ago, and they asked me about does God choose? And they were all free willers. Now, if you look at the history of Islam and a lot of theology of Islam, Many theologians in the past didn't believe in free will. They believed in predestination, and a kind of double predestination, some of them are mild Pelagianism. So Muslim apologists today are not well informed about their own theological debates and theology within their creeds. Okay. And if I'd have known that, I could have pointed out to Hamza and the people, I'll say, you don't even agree with your own creeds. Yeah. The main doctrines of the Sunni Islam, though the wording does not follow any specific creed, the order is roughly that of the Ḥanafī creed. Number one, God is one, unique in the sense that there is no deity other than God. He is neither partner nor associate, neither begets nor is begotten. This is the first clause in the Shahada and also appears in the Quran, though not in the earliest portions. Allah is the Arabic word for God used by Arabic-speaking Christians, but some of the Muhammad's contemporaries recognize Allah as a high God alongside other deities. It's against such people, that polytheists in general, that this article emphasizes the uniqueness of God, which became one of the distinctive features of Islam. I think here on this creed bit, you could ask them, what do you mean God is one? What do you mean by God is unique? What do you mean by beget or begotten? What does that mean? I think they would struggle to answer those questions. What do they mean by beget or begotten? What does that mean? You know, how does that relate to the Greek when it says Jesus is the only begotten Son? You know, these are questions that are worth developing and looking into. Number two, he has been from all eternity and will be to all eternity with all his names and attributes. These attributes may be essential or active. You see how it's getting a bit complicated? It's not easy now for the Muslim apologist. There's issues here, philosophical issues coming out now, that it's not easy for them to get out of. He has been from all eternity and will be from all eternity with all his names and attributes. These attributes may be essential or active. Attributes pertaining to activity. Among the former are life, power, omnipotence, knowledge, omniscience, speech, hearing, sight, and will. And among the later, creating, sustaining, giving life, and not raising from the dead. All these attributes are eternal. They are not God, and yet not other than God. So now you see there's complications here. What does all this mean? So these are things we could delve into and get them to unpack and show there are contradictions within what they're saying. We're only in statement 2 of their creed, and now there's already philosophical and theological problems. Well, what do you mean that he has been from all eternity and will be to all eternity with all his names and attributes, and yet these attributes are eternal, but they are not God, yet not other than God? What does that mean? The Quran frequently applies names to God, such as the merciful, the forgiving, the creator, the knowing. 99 such beautiful names are commonly recognized as used devotions. The theologians held that God possesses the qualities or attributes corresponding to these names, as the quality of mercy corresponds to merciful. The 7 essential attributes listed above were much discussed by theologians in the 3rd and 4th centuries, 9th and 10th centuries. So it's imperative. I think it's so important that we go. I've done this and it worked very effectively with Mansour. I went to the history of the debates on the attributes of God and saw instantly that they were actually making many gods in the way they were describing the attributes of God. And I questioned him on it, and he couldn't deal with it. But what I'm saying is, right, notice the 7 essential attributes listed above were much discussed by theologians in the 3rd, 4th, and 9th and 10th century. Go and find out the discussions they had on the doctrines and attributes of God, and use that information against the Muslim apologist. Yeah, you could say, get them to state it. Well, why are you different from this group or that group? Some, especially the Ghazālī, they are seen as a heretical group in Islam, held that the attributes are not distinct from God's essence. So that, for example, he might be said to know by his essence. Others held that the attributes have a hypostatic character, not unlike the three hypostases of Christian Trinity, so that it is by his knowledge rather than his essence God knows. So these are powerful, legitimate theological and philosophical questions we can home in on and say, where do you stand on the essence and attributes? It's already being done at the moment, but more work needs to be done. There's a bit of work being done at Speaker's Corner, but there's a whole raft of putting them on the back foot, looking and comparing that to the Christian position on the attributes and essence of God. The later view, which made allowance for the special position of the Quran as God's attribute of speech, came to be standard Sunni position and was accepted by the al-Ashʿarī, the Māturīdīyah, and others. See, there are these different groups. Which group are you in? Why are you in that group and not this group? With regard to the active attributes, what do you think of the active attributes? The al-Ashʿarī held that these are not eternal. So now we've got different groups saying there are various attributes that are not eternal in God. You see how this opens up a can of worms for debate and discussion? It puts them on the back foot now. You're saying that there are these active attributes, but there are Muslim scholars and in the past that said they're not active attributes, they're not eternal attributes, the active attributes of God. How do you come to differ from them? These are questions that are not easy to answer, and will put them on the back foot. You're attacking the Trinity and the deity of Christ. But what about this issue with you? Are the active attributes eternal or not? And if they're eternal, why? The Māturīdīyah, on the other hand, held that these names and attributes applied to God eternally. There was also some discussion, especially in later times, when there was greater familiarity with philosophical ideas, as to whether existence, eternity, and the like were to be regarded as attributes. You see, it's not easy. It's not easy. Number 3. God created the world and all that is in it. He did not create things from any pre-existing thing. God creation of the world ex nihilo is always implied in the creeds, though it's not always stated explicitly. That's simple enough. 4. Now here's a can of worms. Part 4 of the creed. God is unlike all created things. He is neither body nor substance nor accident of substance. He has no special limit or position. Nevertheless, as the Quran indicates, he has 2 hands, 2 eyes and face, and he is seated in the throne. The otherness in his sense, transcendence of God are clearly expressed in the Quran. No thing is like him, Surah 42:11. And this point received much emphasis in later times. It was a serious problem for the theologians to reconcile this otherness of God with the anthropomorphism in the Quran. Here is, this is what we can call the Christian vice. There is an Islamic vice. The Islamic vice is, don't use your Bible. We won't use the Quran. Let's use logic. The Trinity is not logical. And then they get you off the Bible, and then they batter you all over the place, right? This is the Christian vice. You get them on this topic, and you've got them in a vice. Is God anything like his creation? Surah 42:11. No. Well, why does the Quran use anthropomorphic language that God has hands, God has feet, right? And different Muslim schools give different views on it. If they say it's anthropomorphic, you can ask them, why is it anthropomorphic? On what basis do you say that language is anthropomorphic? Because there are other theologians who take a different point of view. Okay. So I'll tell you, once you get about this topic, boom, they can attack the Trinity, the deity of Christ's Bible. But once you get them on this topic, you've got them in the Christian vice. Boom. God is not like his creation, but he has hands and feet. The two do not go together. And it's not easy to reconcile. And they can try and jump through loops and say it's anthropomorphic and try to get around it, but it's not going to work. And the point received much emphasis in later times. It was such a serious problem for the theologians to reconcile this otherness of God with the anthropomorphisms in the Quran, which includes not merely such terms as hands and feet, but also most of the names and attributes. Some of those names and attributes are like describing humans. So how do you get around that? Some of those who insisted on the otherness and incorporeality of God, like the Mu'tazili, held that the anthropomorphic terms were to be understood metaphorically, and they called those who understood them literally as mushabina, those who make God resemble humanity. Most Sunni theologians following Ahmad ibn Hanbal said they were to be accepted amorally, literally, without asking how they were to be understood. So now you see the taqiyya, the lying of the Salafi apologist at Speaker's Corner. Because the Mu'tazili, they are seen as heretics in Sunni. In Sunni Islam, they are seen as heretics, right? And the Mu'tazili say that the language that God is hands and feet is, we're to look at it anthropomorphically, symbolically, okay? It's symbolic language. It's metaphoric, okay? The hands and feet is metaphoric, okay? Now that's coming from a heretical sect. And the Sunni theologians, the great Sunni theologians, they were said we're to accept it literally, but without asking how it is to be understood. So you have the Salafi Muslim apologist in Speaker's Corner taking a Mu'tazili position, which is heretical, such as Muhammad Hijab has done, but it's not really following the Sunni theologians who said you're to accept it literally, but don't ask that it's to be understood. And if they go down that route, you can say, why are you asking questions about the Trinity? And they say, they'll say to you, you're saying it's a mystery. Well, wait a minute. You're Sunni Muslim theologians, when it comes to the God has hands and feet, they're basically saying it's a mystery. God knows, we don't know. And yet you're trying to challenge me on the Quran, on the Trinity. You're trying to say the Trinity is not logical, and yet you are saying that this hands and feet is metaphorical, which is the Mu'tazili position, which is a heretical group in Islam that you don't agree with. So you're taking a heretical group's view and your own view, the Sunni Muslim theologians, Ahmad ibn Hanbal and others, you're not taking their view, who said that you're to look at it amodali, literally, without asking, and you're trying to attack the Trinity. Some later Ashʿarī theologians allowed metaphorical interpretation within limits. However, the Quran, within limits, however. So, let's get to Dingamir. So, hey, Truth Defender, God bless you. So, God bless you, brother. There's a link there. I don't know if anyone wants to come on. So, do you see? Going through the creed is opening up cans of worms. So let's go through it again. Let's go through the script. You go to Speaker's Corner, or you're on YouTube, you're doing debate with a Muslim. You say to them, and they want to critique the Trinity, they want to critique the deity of Christ. So you say, yeah, it's a great. So let's go through the script. You're at Speaker's Corner, you're on YouTube, a Muslim, or you're talking to a Muslim who's trained in some of their apologetics on the street. The Muslim says, oh, the deity of Christ, it doesn't make sense, it's not logical. The Trinity is not logical. So you said to them, okay, what's your creed? I mean, if we're going to have a discussion here, what's your creed? Immediately, 95% of the people you're debating will not know what their creed is. They'll not know. They'll know the Shahada, but they won't know their creed, the points that we've just gone through. We've only gone through a few of the points that the Muslim schools, the Sunni and the Shia, they have creeds. And you ask them, you want to critique the Trinity, you want to critique the deity of Christ, but before we have a discussion, you know my theology, the Nicene Creed. What's your creed? 95% of Muslims are going to say, I don't know. And then you've got to say, sorry, I'm not going to let you attack the Trinity. I'm not going to let you attack the deity of Christ. If you don't know your own theology, you're not having a chance to attack the Bible. You're not having a chance to attack the creed. That's what we need to do. That's what we need to do. What is your creed? Oh, I don't know. So that's they're out of the picture, right? But then some of them might say, oh, well, it doesn't matter what my creed is. I want to talk about the Trinity. He said, no. What is your creed? I need to know your creed, where you stand theologically. And if they don't do that and you're in a debate, it's showing how dishonest they are. Oh, Muhammadiyah is attacking the Trinity. Right, we're having a debate. What is your creed? Oh, I don't need to talk about that. We're talking about the Trinity. Oh, no, we need to know your creed, because your creed and what you say actually has implications of the Trinity. So please, what is your creed? I don't want to talk about it. You don't want to talk about it because you know if he does, he's dead. So that's the second script that you can use. They say, we don't want to talk about it. It's not relevant. It is relevant. You're hiding it. That's the second one. Third, if they do be so bold as to say what their creed is, they have just hung their neck. They have just hung. Then you say, wait a minute, you're attacking the Trinity. You're attacking the deity of Christ in this debate. Now I know your creed. Doesn't your creed say that God is not anything like what we are, what creation is? In that Quran verse and in the creed there, yes. But don't you have language that says that God has hands and feet? Yes. How do you answer it? Oh, it's metaphorical. Oh, you're saying it's metaphorical. Right. So you're from the Masālī position, and that's a heretical group that you Sunnis do not agree with. So you're using a Masālī position. You're not even using the Sunni position of XYZ theologians who say that you're to take it literal, but leave it to God. And if you're to take it literal to leave it to God, you're basically saying it's a mystery. So why are you taking the Bible, the Trinity and the deity, when we say it's a mystery, when you, all theologians, are saying these things are a mystery? Boom. That is the beauty of learning about their creed. You're able to engage them a lot better and more effective. That's why they don't tell you what their creed is. And their creed, they have different schools of the creed, the actual creed. They have different schools of hadith. But the different schools of hadith, right? Let me just explain, right? There are differences in the creeds. And you can exploit those differences. Oh, yeah, you take that position. So like the knowledge that we have now to know that the metaphorical position of hands and feet is from a heretical group. A heretical group interpret that the Sunnis see, the heretical group that the Sunnis see, the Masālī, they see the hands and feet as metaphorical. That's from a heretical group. The Sunnis, generally speaking, say it's literal, but we just take it on faith that God knows what those hands and feet is, right? So that bit of knowledge that we have, now we can use against the Salafi apologists. Don't forget, Muhammadiyah and all these Muslim apologists, 95% of them, 99% of them are Salafi Sunni that don't represent most of the Sunnis. Most of the Sunnis Sunni come from the Ashʿarī, which is they don't believe that you should be rationalistic and debate God. So the Salafi don't represent the vast majority of Sunni, and especially the vast majority of Sunni theologians. Okay, they're just a minority group, right? But this minority of Salafi group, when they say that the hands and feet is metaphorical, they're lying, because it's coming from an heretical group that they don't believe in. Their own theologians will not say that that's metaphorical. The classical theologians, as you go back, will say, no, you take it literally, but leave it to God. Because they have a position, the Sunnis in their history and their tradition, is not to be too rationalistic, say, leave it to God. God knows, we don't know. Okay? And yet the Muslims come with this rationalistic, oh, you can't tell us the Trinity because it's not rational, etc. So they're not actually going to their classical Sunni position, which is not to be too rationalistic. So that bit of knowledge on the creed here, the creed number 4, that little bit of knowledge that we've gained helps us hugely in defending the Trinity and the deity of Christ. Just that bit of knowledge. And if you expand that knowledge, by which I'm going to be doing in the next few weeks, reading about these different schools a bit more. And I've done it in the past a little bit, but to memorize them and to understand their arguments and everything, then you can use and utilize them against the Muslim apologist at Speaker's Corner. So let's go through the script. The Muslim says, let's debate the Trinity. Okay, right. As we're debating, can you tell me what your creed is? No. Why? I don't know what it is. Well, we can't debate the Trinity then. Next Muslim apology. You want to debate the Trinity? What's your creed? It's not relevant. Oh, right. We're not going to debate the Trinity because you're hiding what you believe. So that's out of the picture. Third one. What's your, you want to debate the Trinity? Yeah. Third apologist comes on. Tell me your creed. He tells you your creed. You want to attack the Trinity? Fine. You don't even know what hands and feet are in the Quran, what that means. Your Sunni theologians have said that. And when you're saying it's metaphorical, my friend, you're using the Musali position, which is a heretical position in your theology. And yet you want to attack the Trinity. So that's a script that you can use, which is going to be very effective. I think it'll be very effective. And that's just on this bit there. So I'll just go one more, and you can go through the creed and you can see where the kind of worms are, where they open. Here's another kind of worms for them. So they're attacking the Trinity and deity of Christ, but look at this one. The Quran, as it's written down, remembered and recited, is a speech of God and uncreated. Our writing and reciting of it, however, are created. This matter was the subject of violent discussion in the 9th century. In the so-called Inquisition, begun by Caliph al-Mu'min around 833, prominent jurists and other officials were obliged to state publicly that they believed the Quran to be the created speech of God. Among those who refused to make the profession was Ahmad ibn Hanbal. And for a time, now he's the main Sunni theologian, and for a time, he was the main defender of the uncreatedness of the Quran. The point at issue seems to have been that if the Quran is created, God could have created it otherwise, and so it is not unthinkable that the Caliph, if regarded as inspired by God, could alter its rules. On the other hand, if it is uncreated, express something of God's being and cannot be humanly altered, this implies that the final decision about the application of the Quranic rules to practical matters in the hands, not of the Caliphate, but of the accredited interpreters of the Quran, namely the Ummah or religious scholars. The Shia, who believe their imams are inspired, still hold the Quran to be created. But since the end of the Inquisition around 850, the Sunnis have adhered firmly to the doctrine of the uncreatedness of the Quran. So there's another kind of worms. If you tell me your creed and you start attacking the Bible and you start attacking the deity of Christ and the Trinity, and you told me your creed, I said, well, wait a minute. You're saying that there cannot be three in one. You're saying that Jesus can't be God in the flesh. How can the Quran be eternal, uncreated, and yet you have God? So you've got two gods there. So that is another can of worms. You can nail them on. You can nail them on. If they say the Quran is created, then you can nail them on that. If they say the Quran is uncreated. But the Sunnis, the Salafi, Islamic apologists, the Speaker's Corner, and they're mainly on the internet, the orthodox view is the Quran is uncreated. So how can you be attacking the Trinity and the deity of Christ if you believe the Quran is uncreated? You've got two gods. How do you square that? How do you square that the Quran is uncreated and yet Allah is the word, the speech of God, the same as Allah, different from Allah? And in what sense is that? Yeah. So that's another example of how when you get the creed, when they state the creed, you can nail them. That's why they don't tell you the creed. That's why they hide what they're saying. And in debates, I've watched a few debates by J. Dyer, and it's quite interesting. I don't agree with his theology, and I think he's a bit rude, but he's quite a good debater, I think. And he, like I said, I don't agree with his theology. I think he's heretical. But I'm watching the debates with the Muslims that he's done on the Trinity. He's pointing out these issues of their creed, and 9 times out of the 10, they don't want to go into the creed, the Muslim apologists. They try and stay away from it. And they try and present this idea that Muslims are all united, and it's very simple. We believe in one God. But actually, they have creeds, and these creeds, they differ on these creeds, and it's quite complex, some of the issues that come out. And this is one area that if you know what the creed is, then when they attack the Trinity, they attack the Bible, you can pin them on this and say, here, you've got some contradictions in your system. So I think I hope I've done enough to whet your appetite. I've just whet my appetite. Like I said, I was listening to Orthodox Shahada and J. Dyer. I don't agree with these guys theologically, but they were talking last year, and I watched the video the other day, and they were talking last year about Muslim apologetics and about how they've been dealing with them and different ideas they're trying. And they were talking about, they asked the Muslims, what's the Aqidah? And they found that most of the Muslims don't know what their creed is, or Aqidah. And then if the Muslim apologist does know what it is, and you start to engage on that, they're all over the place. They can't deal with it. And so I've just tried to present something to you to, if you're into apologetics, to develop this more. It's already being developed a bit at Speaker's Corner, but mainly by Catholic and Eastern Orthodox theologian apologists at Speaker's Corner. I don't think this is being tried much by, I think maybe David Wood in a debate with Mohammed Hijab, he's done a bit on this. Maybe Anthony Rogers, maybe Truth Defender can tell us if Anthony Rogers has done anything on this. But it's an area that we can develop. We can develop a very good apologetics and defend the Trinity and the deity of Christ much more effectively by knowing what their creed is and pinning them and asking them for their creed. Before the debate starts, what is your creed? And if they're not willing to give it, it's going to expose them. So I hope that's been a help to you. I'll just show you something. So I'm finished now. If any got any questions about that, I won't go through the rest of the creed, but I hope I've whet your appetite. I've shown you maybe a way forward to do apologetics against the Muslims, is to move on this issue of the creed. What's your creed? What's your Aqidah? And see the dominoes fall. See how they deal with that. They will try to wiggle out of it like no tomorrow, yeah? So I'm just going to show you a few things, yeah, and then we'll so if anybody's got any questions or thoughts, or you want to come on, You're welcome to come. You're welcome to come on, you know. Just give me a minute. So I want to just so I just want to show you what happened yesterday. I'll just give you a little bit. Truth Defender, could you unpack that, brother? It'd be nice if you could just write a little bit and just unpack what you mean by not exhaustively it is needed. It'd be great if you could just write something. But I just think it's a possible way forward of... I was shocked to find out that the Muslims don't know their creed. And I was shocked to find out that most of the apologists on Speaker's Corner and on YouTube are Salafi, that the Salafi Sunni of the Salafi school, and that they don't even know what their creed is, and they don't represent the vast majority of Sunni Muslims. Okay, thank you. But I think, though, what I'm saying is, if you get a handle of the Sunni creed, generally there are nuances of different schools, but if you get a handle of the Sunni creed and you ask them, what is your creed? And if they're not willing to tell you, or if they tried to hide it, you've got them on the back foot before you even start. And if they do tell you what their creed is, they've got problems, because a can of worms opens up all over the place. And it's like the Mormons, they come to you and they tell you a script. Or when you meet a Mormon, they say, oh, hello, we're from the Mormon church. We believe in Jesus. He's the Son of God. And, you know, and it's very simple like that. And then you go along to the Mormon church and you follow it. And then you find out they believe in baptism of the dead. They got temple and they got all sorts of weird and wonderful things. And it's the same with Islam. They have this simple script. God is one. Muhammad is a prophet. And very, very simple. But then when you jump in, when you go, well, what's your creed? And you get the creed. Some very, very easy things to pick apart. Can of worms that you can pick apart and break down their position. And that's what they hide from us. That's what they're hiding. So I guarantee if Truth Defender or anybody goes on a show and says, you know, what's your creed? The Muslim apologists will not tell you. They'll try to get out of it. But if they are honest and they tell you the creed, then you've got them then. You've got them by the throat, because once you know where they stand on various topics, you can pick them apart. So there we are. So Truth Defender, God bless you, brother. If you want to say anything, write anything on that topic, feel free to do so. So I hope it's been informative. I hope the books will so I'll just get this one from Yep, I just let them try to reconcile the differences for themselves. The materials are there, like Walter Martin said. If they did not want to be quoted, they should not have said or written it. Yeah. And I think that's the key, is to show them. Like an example is, you say you're attacking the deity of Christ, and it's not logical. Okay. And you're saying we're appealing to mystery. Okay. But you say, but the Sunni creed is that God is nothing like his creation. But what about the language where it says hands and feet? Oh, that's metaphorical. Oh, wait a minute. It's metaphorical. But you're taking that from the Musali school, and the Musali school you believe is heretical. So why are you using the Musali school? Why aren't you using your Sunni theologians like this Sunni theologian, who's one of your main guys, who says, when it says hands and feet, accept it literally, but only God knows. That's appeal to mystery. And yet you're saying to me, I'm saying the Trinity is a mystery, or the deity of Christ is a mystery. But yet in your Sunni theology, the hands and feet, it's a mystery. So you're all over the place. You're contradicting yourself. That's just a simple way of using their creed against them and using the different schools that they have against them. And that's just taken me an hour to read, an hour to reflect, an hour to study, and been able to do that. So how much more if you spend some time each week for a few months preparing yourself, studying, how much more will you be more effective at Speaker's Corner on YouTube or wherever? You're going to be really effective in breaking them down, using all this information. And the two books I've given you underneath are a must to read. I'm telling you, they're going to really help you to break down Muslim apologetics at Speaker's Corner. They're going to really help you because they'll give you information about. So don't forget, there's a difference between quoting the hadith and the creed. Yeah, once you get them on the creed, you've nailed them, right? But when you start quoting hadith, they'll say, oh, that's a weak hadith, that's a weak hadith, that's a weak hadith. So the way to nail them on the weak hadith is to find out their jurisprudence, their law schools. Find out their law schools. And when you're quoting a hadith, make sure it lines in one of their law schools. Yeah, the schools of law. And they can't say it's a weak hadith then. They might say, oh, I don't agree with that law school, but they can't say that. They have to agree with it, because if they go to a different country, say if there's a law, one school is a bit more strict to say in one Muslim country than another school, and you believe the more less rigid view on a particular law, but when you move to that other country and there's a law school there that they're more stricter, you can't say I disagree with it, I don't agree with it, it's not my school. You have to agree as a Muslim to obey that country's school of law that they've laid down from the hadith. So it's a way of stopping them saying this is a weak hadith. You say, well, this law school use it. Oh, I don't agree with that law school. Oh, you can't say that, because if you're in a country, you have to accept it. Oh, great, brother. Great. Nadir Ahmed. I don't know Nadir Ahmed. Have you got his YouTube channel, brother? Has he got a YouTube channel? So I've done with that, and unless the brother Truth Defender's got something to say, but definitely I'll be praying for you, brother, and I look forward to that, and I'm sure you'll be fine. He's a wild man. If you've got a link, be very grateful to the link, and I'll go and watch him. So what did I do yesterday? Well, yesterday I went to Accra, set off early in the morning, and I was invited with my I have a Dutch friend in Accra, Abel, and he invited me to an evangelist summit. It was only a small group that he helps. He gives them Bibles and he supports them, and because he's given me Bibles and Dorcas to do the work. So this is his wife, Pamela. They run Bethel. I'll get the information there. Bethel. They run Bethel Love Care, where they have children daycare center, but they they support evangelists in Ghana, help give them Bibles and help them financially. And they gave us a lot of Bibles. And this is his wife, Pamela. And this is Abel. And that's his wife. And that's one of the pastors that came. The small guy was a Muslim, became a Christian, he's an evangelist. The big guy has been tutoring him. So that's one there. So we sat down and we all shared how we're all getting on in the ministry. It was a lovely time. Pamela shared about the importance of reading, getting people to love the Bible, me having a bit of a laugh, enjoying myself. There's no look a bit pensive there. Abel sharing his thing there, sharing, Muslim share, ex-Muslim sharing. I shared. I gave some thoughts about mission work. Pamela gave me a hug because she knows I suffer a lot in Ghana. It's not easy. She gave a bit of hug to comfort me, so that's better. So yeah, so that was a nice meeting in Accra we had yesterday. And then I visited my Okay. I'll have a look at that Truth Defender and look forward to seeing the debate. I'll watch out for it on Sunday. So that's what we did. What I did, it was nice. And then I went to visit my mother and father-in-law. And then I went to visit a pastor, my wife's pastor, that Pastor Popper and his wife, who were from Nigeria. I went to visit them. And got back later on in the evening, and it was good news. I've turned the fan down because I'm talking here, but good news, your prayers are working because God is answering. We've had no light off yesterday and no light off today. I think the light was on all day yesterday. I think, because I weren't here all day yesterday, but today it's been on all day. No light off. My position, yeah, go on, bro. Yeah, I'm listening, bro. If you want to share your position, you can do to defend anything you want to share on here, bro. You can share. You have full freedom to share whatever you want, bro. So thanks for your prayers. The light off's been a bit better. It was horrendous for the last week and a half. All right. It was horrendous for the week and a half, but it's been good today. I think it was good yesterday, but I wasn't here all day. Oh, it was so good. It's been so good today, not having light on. It was horrendous when it goes off. But we had a really good time in Accra. Some young men talking about how they got converted and how they're doing evangelism. And it's nice to see. Nice to see. So that's it, folks. I'm going to finish here. I hope this has been educational for you. I hope it's been a blessing. I'm reading quite a lot on Paul. This is one book I'm reading. Paul, an outline of his theology, Herman Ridderbos. So I'm reading this. I'm really enjoying it. It's pretty heavy going sometimes, but it's very helpful. I'm also reading Scott's Worthies, like I said, by Hull. and a whole host of other books. Dorcas is fine. She's okay. Nothing else to report, really. Love you all. We're praying for everybody. Please continue to pray for us about going to Malawi, about, first of all, visiting and then starting the ministry in Malawi. It's going to take a year to transition to Malawi. So we'll have to visit and then begin to see how we can set up a ministry there. So please pray about that. We both feel we've done our work here in Ghana. We've reached thousands of people, trained hundreds of people, hundreds of young people, hundreds of people in the Word. We've reached thousands of people in the university, in the schools, in the colleges, in the villages. We've done a lot of work. Even though it's just me and my wife mainly, there's been a few people that helped us. We did the work of a large mission society, as if we were a large mission society, but it was only a few of us. We did a massive work. A lot of the work, like just for example, the university work, a lot of people don't realize that we evangelized all the big universities in Ghana, reached all the students, like thousands of students. You know, that's just one area of the mission work that we did. We reached thousands of children in the schools and young people in the schools. Just in 1 year, we gave away 1,000 Bibles, just in 1 year. You know, so people don't realize how big the work was that we did here, but we just feel that we've done what we can do, and it's time to move on. That's what Jesus moved on, Paul moved on. We're more like that kind of missionary. You know, we've done our work, then we move on. John Newton, he did his work in one church. People, they stay for years, but we've done it 6 years. We've trained people, we've discipled people, we've given books to pastors, we've given training material for pastors, we've given thousands of training material, not just tracts, but training material on theology, biblical theology, to thousands of students in the universities. So a reformation could take place in Ghana just through that literature alone. So we've done the work. We give God the glory. It was a great time. We suffered a lot though, but we had good supporters. A lot of people over the 6 years have supported us and stood with us. Most of my support and Dorcas come from YouTube. Most of the people that have supported us have come from people that know me through YouTube. And we've been well supported. You know, sometimes we've suffered, like one day I ate a carrot. All we had is a carrot and I ate a carrot. So we've suffered sometimes, but most of the time we've been well supported. People have helped us over the years, the 6 years. You know, some people drop off and then other people's come, and we've been grateful for all the support everybody's given us in Ghana. We really appreciated it. We couldn't have done the 6 years without the people that have been behind us. It's just not possible. But all the support that you gave, we reached thousands of people with the gospel. We trained hundreds of people, hundreds of young people, who some of them in years to come may become pastors and evangelists. So we've left a legacy. And in years to come, that seed will bear fruit. But it's time to move on. So we're in transition. So I'm spending more time preparing sermons, preparing study notes for pastors in Malawi, lectures for a Bible school in Malawi, preparing Bible studies, and just preparing for Malawi. Even though it's going to take a year's transition, you need to start early. Like how are we going to transition, you know? So that's where we're at. And I just want to thank everybody. If you want to know what we're doing, the website Africa Without Borders, is the best way to know what we're doing. Generally, that tells you where we stand on theology, where we stand on mission. If we had a larger income, I would register as a charity, but our income is not like massive. It's not like tens of thousands of pounds. It's just enough to survive, to live on, and do a little bit of ministry. But if we had a lot of money, I would register as a charity. But at the moment, we don't have massive income coming in. We just have a bit to live off. We can live, feed ourselves, and help a few people and do a little bit of mission work. But we don't have like massive income to be a registered charity. So it's just me and my wife and people who support us. We do a little, we pay for the bills in the house and we do the mission work. But if we had a bigger income, we could be more of a charity. So that's it, really. Just pray for us. Keep us in your prayers for a transition that God will provide and help us to do that. You know, if you could do that, I'd be very grateful. So, Truth Defender, thank you for coming, sir. I will watch out for your debate, and I'm sure you'll be fine. I know you watch a lot of Anthony Rogers, so you'll be fine. Nothing else to report. Just spending a lot of time praying as well. Yeah. Okay, brother. God bless you and take care. Take care, everybody. May God be with you. I hope this was informative. And take care. Just to say that for anybody out there who's Ghanaian or African, I just want to share this about evangelism and about mission work. It says in Titus chapter 1, for this cause, verse 5, for this cause I left thee in Crete, that thou shouldst set in order the things that are wanting and ordain elders in every city, as I have appointed. If any be blameless, the husband of one wife, having faithful children, not accused of riot or unruly. For a bishop must be blameless, as the steward of God, not self-willed, not soon angry, not given to wine, not striker, not given to filthy lucre, but a lover of hospitality, a lover of good men, sober, just, holy, temperate, holding fast the faithful word, holding fast the faithful word, holding fast the faithful word, as he has been taught, that he may be able by sound doctrine both to exhort and to convince the gainsayer. I just want to say that if you're involved in evangelism in Africa, you're a young African and you're involved in mission work as an African, to make sure that you're grounded. In my experience in Africa is people are not grounded in ministry. Those who are in ministry, they're not grounded in sound doctrine. They're not grounded in the truth of God's word. So I encourage you to be grounded in true doctrine, true teaching. Okay? So go to the website, africawithoutborders.co.uk. Go to our website, and there is an online seminary where there are PDFs and there are other things that you can look at, and there's even online. There's different options where you can study and learn and grow in the faith. Okay. So I'm going to go. God bless you. God bless you, Truth Defender, and anybody else who comes on. God bless you, you and your families. May God be with you. I hope this has been edifying, and I hope it's been helpful, and I hope it sparks off. I didn't get this idea about the Aqidah, the creed. I didn't get the idea. I got it from the Eastern Orthodox guys. So credit to them. I don't agree with their theology. I think they're heretical. But I got the idea from them. I've only just started to develop it myself. I'm just looking at it myself. But I'm seeing the potential of this kind of apologetic, of asking them about their creed and then taking it from there. So I hope it's been a help to you, and I hope it starts you off discovering more about their creeds and the history of their creeds, and then pinning them down on that in debates and discussion so that we can get the truth out. So I hope it's been a help. Okay, God bless you. Love to everybody, and take care, and thank you for coming. And I know that people will be watching this. So this month on our YouTube channel, I got a report from YouTube. Sometimes it's 15,000 people a month on this YouTube channel. This month it was 11,000. 11,000. Is it 11,000? Yeah, 11,000 views. 15,000 normally. It was 11,000 this month. So that's 11,000 views. So that's a lot of views, you know. So we just pray that God will bless the YouTube channel. It's only small, but may God bless it. So take care, and may God bless you. Take care now.